Good morning, everybody. We'll call the meeting to order. Council is conducting this meeting in person and via conference call in accordance with the Municipal Government Act, Section 199. Council chambers is open for public attendance. However, councillors and members of the public may still join meetings remotely using our current teleconference process. If you've submitted a comment request, the chair will call on you at the appropriate time. The chair may also ask for comments and concerns from the public relating to a particular topic, and at this time, phone lines will be unmuted. If you would like to speak, please state your name. Individuals will be allotted 5 minutes to speak or 10 minutes for a group as per our procedure bylaw. If the meeting is recessed, callers will be put on hold until the meeting reconvenes, with the exception at noon, where callers will be asked to call back in. This helps with call quality. Please note this meeting is being recorded and may be uploaded to our website and/or social media. To eliminate background noise, please mute your phone during the meeting. We also ask all attendees to please mute their devices to reduce disruptions to the meeting. Everyone has a right to be present at council and council committee meetings. Any attendees that are considered disruptive to the progression of this meeting may be removed at the discretion of the chair as per the Municipal Government Act, Section 198. We thank you for your cooperation and understanding. We do have an agenda before us. Due to this being a special council meeting, we cannot address any agenda items that were not circulated in the notice of meeting. Looking for a motion to adopt the agenda. Councillor Laverson.
Before we adopt the agenda, I have some questions that are related to the agenda that I would like to see answered. For the most part, the ratepayers here didn't support the first attempt to defame Councillor Kester with legal action and don't support any further action. So I'd like to get administration before we can have this meeting so we get an understanding of what we're going to be discussing here. A cost to us about what the investigation and the legal action has cost so far. And I know I've worked with enough law firms to know that they keep very accurate records and bill their time in 6-minute increments. If administration doesn't have a firm number, then a quick phone call to the accounting department of Brownlee LLP can get this number in a matter of minutes. The court decision is a matter of public record and the ratepayers deserve to know how their tax dollars are being spent.
Councillor
This matter is referred to closed session, and the pillars of the Wheatland County strategic plan need to be updated before we discuss a communications and engagement strategy because the pillars of being open and transparent is obviously not a pillar.
Councillor Laverson, I'm going to interrupt. I would request that you speak respectfully regarding your colleagues and this council. And the cost of the court decision is not on the agenda. You can make a request to administration to report on that at a future council meeting if you would like. I'm sure administration can provide that at a future council meeting.
It's directly related to the agenda.
The agenda item is discussing the court ruling and to receive legal advice from our legal counsel. I'm also just going to remind the public that when you're in attendance at a council meeting, members of the public must maintain order, decorum, and quiet for the duration of the meeting, and members of the public must not approach or address or attempt to approach or address council without prior permission being granted or otherwise disturb or interrupt the proceedings of the council meeting.
And I also want to make this, I want to move that this not be held in closed session and that it be held in open session. And if we have a vote on this, I want a recorded vote.
Thank you, Councillor Laverson. Councillor Laverson is suggesting an amendment to the agenda. Because of the substantive nature of the amendment, I would suggest that council vote on the amendment in and of itself first, and then we can, if the amendment is not accepted, we can vote on the agenda as presented. Or would administration suggest a different process?
Through the chair, that's fine.
So Councillor Laverson has moved to approve the agenda with the amendment of moving agenda item 3, if I understand correctly, into an open session. Can administration just speak to the FOIP section and why this agenda item has been placed into a closed session?
Yes, through the chair. So section 27 of FOIP is privileged information. So any information that's shared from legal counsel typically does go under section 27. Council can choose to hear legal information in an open session. You just waive the privilege of that information. So there's obviously drawbacks to that. Typically, I'd say that all legal information is held within a closed session, at least the deliberations and discussions behind it. Of course, all motions need to be made in a public manner, and that's outlined in the MGA. Thank you.
And is legal counsel available? I know we had them scheduled for 11:30. Could they speak to their recommendation for whether they would recommend that they provide their legal counsel in a closed session or open?
Yeah, so through the chair, I haven't asked. They could always speak about it, but typically that's kind of the general practice.
Council's wishes, would you like to hear from legal counsel regarding their recommendation? It might be good just to hear legal counsel's recommendation if they're able to call into this meeting prior to considering going into closed session, just so council has good information from our legal counsel directly. Would we be able to facilitate that?
Council should probably just vote on the potential amendment to the agenda, having it moved into open. I think that if you add another item to the agenda, then that probably wouldn't be procedurally correct.
Correct.
Council could ask legal counsel to provide a report at a future council meeting, but today you should just stick to what's on the agenda.
Yeah, I'm not so much asking for a report, just a recommendation, or if they indicated, did you discuss whether they would recommend that this be delivered in open session versus closed session?
Through the chair, so I have before, we've had legal counsel also present to council before why privileged information should be presented in a closed session. We can certainly do it again.
I do recall that now that you reference that, we did have Brownlee just do a brief overview of why they would suggest their legal counsel be provided in a closed session. And it does, that has been provided to council previously. So is there any further discussion on the motion?
Recorded vote.
Yep, absolutely. I'll call the question.
I've got some technical issues in the fact that my iPad is not working. So I was hoping I could bring this up on my phone, and I have been unable to bring up eScribe on my phone. So would there be any possibility to do a vote by show of hands because everybody is here?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just ask that people, Councillor Kester and Councillor Lawerson, you don't have your.
I have it here. I haven't
Describe.
opened it yet. I didn't think I needed it.
Okay, we can vote by a show of hands.
Yeah.
Councillor Kester?
I don't know if I'll get an opportunity to speak again. I've got a pretty good
Councillor
idea.
Kester, are you addressing the motion on the floor?
Yes, I am. First off, I'd like to make a statement. I'd like to thank everyone for coming today. You have no idea what it means to me and my family. I am going to have to declare, I come to the meeting today so I'd have my name on the record, but I cannot attend the talk with the lawyer because it states right in the motion it's about me, and I will have to declare a conflict of interest. I don't know how far I have to go, but being you're voting on an amendment to the closed session, I'm going to take it to the extreme and declare a conflict, and I'll recluse myself from voting on the amendment. And when the time comes to go in camera, I would like to be afforded the opportunity to speak again. But I'd like the record to show up declaring a conflict for the amendment. I don't know, ask Brian, that's appropriate, I'm thinking.
As for I would say because you're voting on the specific matter under the closed session, you probably could. I'd probably be on the safe side. You're probably correct. Your instinct is probably correct to recuse yourself from that, and then ultimately it is your decision to make as well through the chair.
Thank you, Councillor Kester. Thank you, CEO Henderson. Any other questions or discussion on the motion? I'll call the question. I'll just ask that everybody keep their hands raised until we can determine who is for and against.
Can you read out what the question is?
Just confirming that the motion is to approve the agenda with agenda item 3 moved into open session. That was your motion, Councillor Lawerson.
That's correct.
So moving the receipt of legal information, legal counsel's advice into an open session.
Kind of very hard to support this motion simply because of what Councillor Kester just stated. There is different interests involved here, and legal advice has always been, since I've been here and previous councils that I've seen, the advice is always in camera because it has legal ramifications and gives up council or the legal entity a point of explanation to a board, and to what actions that are taken after that definitely will be in public. So I just can't support this motion, sorry.
Councillor Laverson.
And in this particular case, the ruling by the court that we're going to discuss is already a matter of public record. So this is a little bit different situation than it was previously.
Any other questions or discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Let the record show.
There's your tax dollars at work, folks.
I will remind both the public to show respect. Council anticipates that we'll have respectful behavior in chambers, and for Councillor Laverson to show respect. I'll also remind that our code of conduct indicates supporting decisions of council. Let the record show that Councillor Laverson was in favor, and Councillor Deputy Reeve Clausen, Reeve Link, Councillors Eichert, Bigger, and Laprise were opposed. Council's wishes regarding the agenda.
I'll move the agenda as presented.
Deputy Reeve Clausen has moved the agenda as presented. Any questions or discussion? Councillor Kester.
Again, I'm going to.
Thank you, Councillor Kester. Any other questions or discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. We're going to move to agenda item 3 because we have an appointment with legal counsel at 11:30, and I'm going to, for consistency, turn the chair over to Deputy Reeve Clausen.
Thank you. Administration, my understanding is legal counsel in the building or is it remote?
It's virtual, and
Okay.
council would need a motion to move into closed session.
Okay. Therefore, with the discussion before us, I'll move us into closed session. I'm sure they want a recorded vote, and I will ask for that. So I will call the question. Those in favor?
I have a statement.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Just so I'm abundantly clear, I take my duty as a counselor very strongly. I've always been open and transparent, public. I appreciate the support. But being that this in-camera session is about the recent court ruling of Kester versus Wheatland County and possible future actions by the county, I'm going to have to declare conflict of interest, the possible pecuniary interest. I don't know what the outcome of this is going to be, and I'll recluse myself from all discussions.
Thank you for the statement. I appreciate that, and I appreciate that the pecuniary interest, because I was going to ask you to define that. So thank you for that. So there is a motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Sorry, we just have to wait for Councillor Kester to leave. Those in favor? So we have Councillor Please, Councillor Bigger, Councillor Eichert, Reeve Link, and myself. Those opposed? Councillor Larson. That is carried. So typical procedure, well, it is always our procedure. We have a room off-site that is for reviewing these legal matters, just so the public is aware. I don't know how long it's going to take. There's a presentation to us. We have no agenda of what's coming to there. We have no idea what the legal is going to tell us. And then once we come out of that, any motions that will be made will be in public. We'll come back in session. So If you wish to sit, you're welcome to. If these meetings are recorded, so just want everybody to be aware of procedure. Thank you. Thank you. I'll call this back in session. We had, I apologize to the gallery, we had lengthy discussion and some things back from the lawyer that we had to wait for. So there's council direction.
I'll move that council take no action and not appeal the decision, Kester versus Wheatland County.
There's a motion before us. Any discussion on that motion?
Recorded vote.
A recorded vote is requested. I'll ask in any discussion. If not, I will call the question. Those in favor? That's 2 in favor, Councillor Laprise and Councillor Larson. Those opposed? Councillor Bigger, Councillor Eichert, Reeve Link, and Deputy Reeve Klassen. That is defeated. Any further action council wish to take?
I'll move the council direct administration to proceed with an appeal to the decision of the decision of the Court of King Bench in the matter of Kester versus Wheatland County, 2024 AB KB 103.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor. Any discussion? Go ahead, Councillor.
Recorded vote.
Recorded vote is requested. Go ahead, Councillor Laprise.
So I just want to say that we did hear from the lawyer that we do have grounds for an appeal. The court doesn't.
Point of order.
Oh, sorry.
That was discussed in a closed session.
I'm sorry.
Um,
I'm sorry. You're.
So any items in closed session cannot be discussed in open session. Thank you.
Unfortunately, that is correct.
Okay, I apologize to council for that. It was my mistake. So then I will just say that while there were valid reasons for appealing, I just feel that in the interest of the county's reputation with its ratepayers and other partners, sometimes it is better to graciously accept defeat. So in this case, that's my position.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Go ahead.
I'll just say that I fully respect Councillor Kester's right to appeal the decisions that council made and the fact that he did that through judicial review at Court of King's Bench is the recognized appeal mechanism, and I fully respect and support that. I also respect the position that County Council also has a responsibility to protect the governance of both our council, but also the jurisdiction of municipalities in Alberta under our legislation. And so balancing those, it's just as fair to acknowledge that Wheatland County has the right, and that appeal mechanism is there for a reason, and that's why I'll be supporting the motion.
Any further discussion? I'll say that for me, the decision is not an easy one. There's a no-win in this situation, but in the best interest of the county, I'll let my vote stand as it falls. So with that, I will call the question. Those in favor? Recorded vote, Councillor Bigger, Councillor Eichert, Reeve Link, myself, Deputy Reeve Klassen. Those opposed? Councillor Larson and Councillor Laprise. That motion carries. I can turn it back over to Reeve Link as the matter is no longer in my control.
Thanks, Deputy Reeve Klassen.
Just point of procedure. I'll go get Kester.
Oh, yes, I apologize. Do you want to take a break? A couple minutes?
This should be very brief.
He's love.
We'll move to agenda item 2.1. I've included this on the agenda just for council consideration. We have had some requests or potential requests coming forward from Wheatland Housing Management Body, as well as from Wheatland and Area Hospice Society, as well as some other issues that I think it would be helpful if we could direct administration to develop a communication and engagement strategy so that we are ensuring that our ratepayers have fulsome and complete information, and also just to help council be better informed in terms of what the priorities of our entire municipality is, and to get some direction on some of the issues that are coming. Administration does this on a regular basis just as part of their recommendations to us and that type of thing. And we can do it following each decision, but I think it would be prudent for us to do a little bit more of just a purposeful and proactive strategy so that we can be well prepared to make decisions. So I would just move that we direct administration to develop a communication and engagement strategy for council. I'll open the floor to any discussion.
Yes, it's difficult for council to have, other than our recorded meetings, as to what direction we are going or how we base our decisions, but we do it off of a lot of documentation, a lot of input from staff. I think it'd be great to have a review of what we use for information and the tools that we use, because there's a lot, and these things have gone on for possibly several years, and just think it's good to have a frequently asked questions, Q&A kind of thing, because you get lots of, people who ask us questions all the time. You only get little bits of information out, but if a bunch of people are asking the same question, we should have a standard format for that. So I definitely support this.
Councillor Laprise.
And so this would be something that would come to council, obviously, for approval, and then they would go out to the public, or is it meant for our information when we're trying to decide on things? Is this an external communication, or is this internal, are you thinking, or both?
I think it would be both. So there's different sort of models of communication and different levels of whether you're just communicating information externally or whether you're also engaging to gather information. From my perspective, it would be helpful to have both. And I was intentional with both communication so that we're communicating council's position effectively, and also just so that we have some stronger mechanisms to engage our entire municipality. My intention would be that administration would execute that, but the information would come to council, and there would certainly be elements of it that council would be involved in if there were public engagement opportunities or that type of thing. So administration could make recommendations to council on what that would look like. Councillor Kester.
Since we're talking communication engagement with the entire county, I'm wondering, is this staff going to include a recommendation, or I'll strongly endorse a recommendation that we get back to and continue our regional partnership meetings, because I found them a very valuable source of information on the whole county, and we haven't been doing that.
I believe we have a council decision on that we should be mindful of, but we can address that at another time. There is a standing motion from council regarding that, and I believe there's a motion directing administration regarding a matter with two of the members of the Wheatland Regional Partnership and actions that they took. I'm happy to discuss that with ratepayers at any time. But we do have a standing council motion on that we should respect as well. Any other questions or discussion on the existing motion?
This would be a perfect time to look at that again.
Thanks, Councillor Kester. Any other questions or discussion?
Just a point from administration, could you repeat that motion just so we have it clear?
For council I'll move to direct administration to develop and execute a Wheatland County Council communication and engagement strategy.
Thank you.
By the word execute, you mean staff or develop it and start using it, or bring it back to council for a vote?
Yeah, that is a good question. I would envision administration executing it, but the strategy can certainly come back to council with some information for consideration. Absolutely.
And then I'm opposed to any such thing as being executed before council votes on it.
Yeah, it can come to council for review and approval. Absolutely. Good point. Any other questions or discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor? Certainly. All in favor? Councillors Laprise, Bigger, Eichert, Link, and Clausen. Opposed? Councillor Lawerson and Kester. Motion is carried. That brings us to the conclusion of our agenda, and meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody, and thank you to everybody that was in attendance.